Hey, what's going on, guys? So I'm in the process of planning and booking some vacations for the next year or so, getting pretty optimistic about our opportunities to travel internationally again. And I already have 2 trips mostly booked, and a third one I'm still kind of working on. So the first one is going to be a little getaway for my wife and I in August to Cabo San Lucas. Now, I'll talk about how I booked everything using points and miles and very little cash. And I'll talk about the other trips in a separate video. Now, if you're new to this channel, my name is Will. I go over travel and travel work credit cards. So hit that little red subscribe button and let's go ahead and jump into it. So I'm not sure if I talked about this in any of my prior videos. I know I have during my live stream, but I was originally going to go to St. Kitts, which is in the Caribbean, for this summer, but St. Kitts just didn't work out because they're still kind of locked down. You can travel to St. Kitts, if you have been tested or been vaccinated. You just can't leave the hotel once you get there, which is just wasn't gonna work for my wife and I. So we scratched that, put it on the back burner, and decided on Cabo. So this will be our first trip to Cabo, and later on in this video, when I go over the hotels, I'm gonna be asking you guys for your thoughts, recommendations, suggestions on these 3 hotels that we've picked out. So we haven't booked the hotel yet, but we have it narrowed down to 3. But before that, let's go ahead and talk about the flight first. So living in Atlanta, Delta is usually the first airline I look at, especially if the flight is going to be roughly 4 hours long. And that's because Delta will probably be the only airline that's going to give me a non-stop flight. Any other airline is probably going to have at least one layover, and that's something that I wanted to avoid. And that was the case for this flight. Delta was the only nonstop flight for me. Now, when I use Delta, I'm usually looking at Virgin Atlantic too, which is an airline partner with Delta. And Virgin Atlantic has some really good redemption rates on Delta flights. Usually, I would say cheaper than booking directly with Delta. So that's what I did for this flight. I had them both pulled up. Now, I'm gonna work a little backwards here. We're gonna look at the flight back from Cabo first. And this is what the Virgin Atlantic kind of search page looks like. I've already searched for a one-way ticket on first class. And usually with Virgin Atlantic, you do want to do a one-way search. And that's just because with Virgin Atlantic search engine, if you try to put in a round trip ticket and it doesn't fit your itinerary perfectly, it's just not going to populate anything. And Virgin Atlantic does have some spotty award availability, so I definitely recommend using a one-way search. And then as long as something is available on that week, as you can see here, I searched for the 13th, but nothing was there, but something was on the 11th, you'll get a result. But there was nothing during that week, you won't get any results. So you'll have to try a day on a different week. Now, once you click on that little price calendar button up there, you'll get a 5-week calendar showing everything that's available to Virgin Atlantic. So you see, again, it is really spotty. But look at this redemption rate. That's 45,000 miles one way for a first class ticket. And if I were to compare that to Delta's website for that same flight, it would have cost me 60,000 miles. So I'll say 15,000 miles for this flight. And the cash rate was $740 for the first class ticket. So that's about a 1.56 cents per point redemption rate. No, not the greatest, but definitely not too bad either. Now, for the flight to Cabo, unfortunately, Virgin Atlantic didn't have anything available for first class or even economy, so I did have to book that directly with Delta, and that would have cost me $359 cash for 32,000 points. So we are flying out on a Saturday, and it was a little bit more expensive during the weekend if I had booked, say, during Friday or Thursday. But it's just kind of the timeline that we had. So it is what it is. You can see it's about a 1 cent per point redemption rate. Not the best at all. But if I wanted to use say Chase Travel Portal, which I could have done, I could have gotten, 1.25 cents per point redemption rate. But I'm trying to save my Chase Ultimate Reward points up for some different redemptions, even maybe one in this video for one of the hotels. So I didn't want to use my Chase Ultimate Reward points here, and I have a lot of Delta miles, so I wasn't really too upset about this. But that's it for the airline ticket, guys. Let's go ahead and look at the hotel now. So like I said, I haven't actually booked it yet, but I have narrowed it down to 3 different properties. So I'm going to go over the pros and cons on each, how much each of them costs, and I want to get your thoughts and opinions on these guys. So let me know down in the comments which one you like and let me know why. Now, if you stayed in a property here in Cabo that's not on my list, please let me know down in the comments below if you would recommend it, and just give me a couple highlights on why you liked it, and I'll definitely check it out. I'm trying to have this booked by sometime in the next week or 2. So the first place I go to when I'm booking a hotel with points is going to be the Hyatt website, and that's just because the Hyatt has the best redemption rates when it comes to points for a hotel. Way better than Marriott, way better than, say, the Hilton Hotel. Now, they have 2 properties in the Cabo area, I guess you can say, the peninsula, tip of the peninsula. The first one is going to be the Hyatt Ziva. This is the one that Credit Shifu just did a video at and stayed at. Now, this is a pretty decent hotel. It's all inclusive, relatively cheap, but the biggest negative is that the location is not ideal for us. It's about a 45-minute to 60-minute drive to get to the actual city of Cabo San Lucas, which is where we want to really be at for this vacation. So that is the huge negative about this. The property itself looks amazing. The rooms look great. It's just the location. Now, if we were to see how much it costs, it's 20,000 points per night. And you can see this is for a master double. They don't have any king size beds for the time frame that we're looking at. So another huge negative here. Now, the cash rate is about $1,300 total. So that's about a 1.3 cents per point redemption rate. So not too bad. Again, the biggest selling point for this is that it's all inclusive and it's a pretty decent property. But you know, the room's not that great and the location really not too ideal for us. Now, the second property, also a Hyatt property. This is a Thompson Hotel called the Cape. Now, this one is much closer to the actual city. It's still not really, it's about a 25-minute drive to get to the city, but it's much closer than, say, the Ziva, obviously. Now, this property gets amazing reviews on all the websites, Expedia, TripAdvisor, all that. I think they give them all like 5 stars, which is really great. The property looks absolutely amazing. It's much smaller than the Ziva, and all the rooms actually face the ocean, which is a huge plus. It's something that you don't have to worry about. But this is definitely my wife's favorite property. She loves a hotel with really good decor, so this is very important to her. Not so much to me, but it is important to her. But it is a very nice hotel. The only negative I would say about it that I've read about is that the food is pretty expensive. Again, it's not all inclusive. So the food, very expensive. One guy paid $40 for a hamburger and a soda. You know, cocktails are like $20 a pop and they're kind of watered down. So that is definitely a negative for me, but it's fine. I can always go into the city and I don't really drink too much anyway, but it is kind of a negative for us. Now, in terms of how much this room costs, so it's 25,000 points per night for a king bed with ocean view. And if I were to pay cash for that, it'll be $3,300 total. You can see it's about $850 just in taxes and fees. So make sure you include taxes and fees in your calculation on how much it's going to cost for your point valuation. So you can see that's about 2.67 cents per point valuation for this hotel. So really good way to use our points. Biggest negative, cost of food and the location itself, not quite as close to the city as I would prefer. Now, the third hotel is a hotel that's not a Hyatt. It's a hotel we had to book through the Chase travel portal. And this is the Grand Solmar. Now, this one is located just outside the city. You can walk into the city, into the marina. Great location where a lot of the resorts are. Nice beach, nice attractions in the area. So location, very prime here. I probably would not have to get a rental car like I would have with the other 2 properties. Now, the property itself is not too bad. Looking at the photos, the rooms aren't great, especially when you compare it to the other Hyatt hotels, but they're good enough for my wife. Barely. Like I said, the location makes up for the rooms, how the rooms look. But these aren't too bad. I've seen worse looking at some of these other hotels. Now, I would say the other negative about this is that the food is also kind of expensive. But again, you can walk into town and get some, local food that's a lot cheaper. Now, let's look at the costs. So since we're booking through the Chase travel portal, we wanted to keep the costs in terms of points roughly the same as we would with the other 2 hotels. So between 20 and 25,000 points. So since my wife has a Chase Sapphire preferred card, she can redeem points at that 1.25 cents per point valuation. So we would have to keep the room at roughly $300 to $320 per night to stay in that same ballpark as the other 2 hotels. So this hotel fit that perfectly. We can get a grand studio, which actually has 2 beds, a king and a queen size bed for $305 per night or 24,400 points per night. I was looking at my own personal Chase account, which I don't have a Sapphire account, so that's why I had to scratch that out and do the calculations myself. But that is that property. So, all 3, have the pros and cons. Again, the Hyatt Ziva is kind of low on the list, and then the Cape and the Grand Solmar, I'm leaning more towards the Grand Solmar. Again, the location is perfect, even though the Cape is really nice. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. And I'll have a little poll up here for you guys to respond to as well. So make sure you respond to the poll, which hotel you like better. But that's all I have for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to smash that like button. Easy way to support the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And subscribe for more videos. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.